Welcome back. Still talking. Welcome back to another episode of This Takes the Cake. We have Samantha Farmer, photo and film, here today, and I just learned a little tip from photography. My hair looks frizzy in these videos because we're against a black wall. So we'll be painting next week.
Oh my God. Not me coming in and pointing out all the flaws right out the gate.
This is why you look like shit.
Yeah. No, never.
Welcome. I'm so glad you came in. I've been looking forward to this one.
I'm nervous.
Are you? Have another sip there, dear. It's gonna. Can we get her a straw, maybe?
Just a bottle straw right there.
Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this. I know you work with your husband right alongside each other, and you guys haven't killed each other, so that's good.
We haven't killed each other. It's really impressive.
Have you fired him? I fired mine a couple times.
So almost every single wedding, I look at him, and then I look at the couple, and I say, "You're going to witness a divorce and a wedding on the same day." That's like my line to break the ice when he's bothering me.
Not David.
Never, ever. Sweet angel. He's sitting off camera, but he's like chuckling.
This whole thing, like,
yeah, so
we'll talk in the car on the way home.
yeah, he's gonna, don't make me sound bad. I'm Sam.
So how did you guys get into this? Because you started just photography outside of work.
Yes.
Okay.
So I actually got into photography because David, he was into a lot of extreme sports, base jumping, skydiving.
Oh, very cool.
He selfishly wanted really high quality photos of himself doing rad things. So at a base jumping event in Norway, I was just there with my camera, taking photos, not really knowing what the hell I was doing at all.
Hopefully
hopefully they turned out, and they did. And I sent one of the photos off, and it got centerfold in a skydiving magazine.
Stop.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture so you can.
Yeah, that's amazing. So like that, I mean, that's like somebody coming out and being like, "Oh, you just started wedding planning? Sure, here's a celebrity." Amazing.
No. But then after that event, our friends who were base jumpers, they had gotten engaged. We were on another base jumping trip, and they were like, "Do you want to just try to take engagement photos of us?" We were in Moab, and I was like, "How can I not?" Like,
wait, what is base jumping?
It's when you wear a parachute on your back, like a rig, and you jump off of. So base stands for building.
Bridge, antenna. I'm sorry. Building, antenna, span, earth. Yeah, sorry.
So building,
antenna, span, and earth. So those are all things that you jump off of. So he jumps off of buildings. He jumps off of bridges. He jumps off of cliffs. And he jumps off of whatever the last one is that I can't remember that I just listed.
legitimately,
Yeah.
That would like make me have to live on podium.
I've definitely lost a few years of my life watching him do this, but
it's more about his life insurance policy.
he can't get one. He can only get accidental death and dismemberment.
Jesus.
Anyways, so we were in Moab. All of our friends were base jumping. I did like a little quick hour photo shoot of them, and I went back to the house that we were all staying at. I went to go edit the photos, and I looked at my computer, I looked at my husband, and I looked at my friends, and I was like, damn, like, these are good.
Yeah.
And like, not in a cocky way. I was like,
and that's the thing, is we're our own worst critics. So when you think it's good, like it's good.
Well, and there was a trend on Instagram like a year ago where it's like, especially in photography, like show your first photo shoot ever and show your photos now. And I'm like, because like the whole point is to show how bad you were, and I was like, I'm gonna see myself out on this one. Like they were good. I'm sorry, like they were good. So
That's awesome.
That's how I got into it. And then I just had a few friends, or their cousins were getting married, and they were like, "Hey, like we know you're not like official yet, but we'll throw you this much money. Do you want to try it?" And so I did it, and it worked. And I learned that I was like good at commanding a bunch of people too, like controlling a room and like just.
Taking it a lot.
Yeah.
It is so seamlessly to work with you because you stay on the timeline, but it's also like, let's go. And
efficiency, baby. We love it.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun together.
We do.
And that's the thing, you have so much fun with it. Not only does the wedding go smoothly, but we have fun working together.
Yeah, that's the whole point. You should have fun with your job.
So what drew you to now, because now you're focused solely on really weddings and stuff like that. So what drew you to wedding focus directly?
If I'm being honest, that's where the money is. And I love. I've always loved it. When we got married in 2016, I wasn't into photography then. I didn't get into photography until like 2017, 2018.
What did you do before?
I worked with kids. I was a nanny.
Oh, yeah, I love that quick, real quick too.
Yeah. It's a huge part of why I don't want them myself. But yeah, so actually, what was I just saying?
How you started.
Oh yeah, I love. We got married. I loved 90% of our day. All of my favorite memories were like the photo parts, the candid moments, all that stuff. And I was like, I feel like I can do this. I've always had a camera in my hand.
Yeah.
High school, like middle school, I was always the friend with the camera. I was obnoxious about it. I was like, like maybe I could do this. And
it just took off.
It just took off. Yeah. And like David loves love too. Like we're both Cancers. I know we're not like big zodiac people, but like we're very in tune with the emotions and like very good at like reading them.
And that's the thing is when we tell our brides, like they're like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to. You got to feel all the feels. That's what makes for the best pictures and videos. I didn't do a first look at my wedding. I remember seeing my husband when I walked down the aisle. He like looked up and he was just completely emotional.
Yeah.
The videographer focused directly on his face when I was walking down the aisle, and I was just like, that's my favorite part of the video.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wow, I feel his feelings at that point.
Absolutely.
So, cry, get a makeup touch up, feel all the feels.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you approach capturing emotions like that in candid moments and things like that? How do you guys, I know you do really well with like getting the bride's personality out and joking around, which is super important to get those candid moments. Yes. It's not all about the pose.
Cracking jokes 24/7, not 24/7, when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Also, like speaking on the candid thing, I feel like this is super important. If you want candid, you have to be candid. You have to be together.
Yeah.
If you want those candid moments with your significant other, you have to like be hanging out with them.
Yeah.
You want those candid moments with your parents, you got to be hanging out with them.
Yeah.
You want like I can prompt that absolutely all day long. But there's some people that are like, no, I don't want anything. And I'm like, okay, well then you better be like this all day together. Like
it looks fake. It doesn't look
yeah,
organic.
exactly.
When you're sitting there, that fake smile. It's like, hey, I hope you love me.
Right.
No, let's do this.
Exactly. So yeah, we just, try to crack a few jokes here and there. I will be super candid with David as well, which the husband and wife aspect is like a big selling point for us because we've done it. We've like literally been there, done that.
Exactly.
So I'm like, let me show you how to do a dip kiss right now. And then I do it and everyone, like half the wedding party's like, do you just like kiss your team members? And I was like, this is my husband. And it's like a little icebreaker.
HRT.
Yeah, I am HRV. I'll kiss whoever I want. Just kidding. I won't.
What do you think about, and I think it's important when you guys do your engagement shoots and things like that, because you get to know the couple, so you kind of know the boundaries of where you can play and where you can't.
Yep.
Do you ever find a couple that's like not a good fit for you guys?
I wouldn't say not a good fit because we're kind of like a chameleon in a way. Like if you want one thing, like I can give you that. It's just kind of, again, like reading the room and like figuring out what they're comfortable with. Like if they're not super big on PDA, we're going to learn that at the engagement session, like right away.
Quick,
because I'm right. And I'm like, okay, now look at each other and kiss. And like, I can start to feel the energy of them when they're like, oh my God, again. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm categorizing that for the wedding.
I captured that and you don't want that.
Right. And I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. So it's very much just like reading their personality, reading the room, especially during the engagement session. And then when we show up on the wedding day, they feel like they know us. We already have some inside jokes with them because maybe something awkward did happen and like, or I cracked a joke and I bring it up again, like things like that. So I feel like for the most part, we're able to like vibe with anybody, but I have had people inquire for like engagement sessions where I'm like talking to them on the phone prior to or through text message. And it just like, I've had 2 instances where we just were not vibing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just send you your money back. I think you need to find somebody else. Like,
do they?
Yeah. And then they were just as awful for that photographer, and that photographer came and told me.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, well, I don't
have want to recommend the people you hate to those couples.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
Fine. Good luck.
No, I wish I had the brain capacity to remember. Honestly.
So how do you balance like artistic vision with client expectations? What's in style? What's working? Because I know like right now the blurry photos are in style, which is to me, I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? But that's just my age. Everybody else is like, oh yeah, it's so cool. Like look at all the lights. And I'm just like, who, what? Like, I don't get it, but that's what's in. And I know, like, I've talked to other photographers who have people don't want any post pictures. They only want, you know, the candidates. And I'm like, that's not what you're hanging on the wall, though.
Correct. You know, so I'm super transparent on my like consultation calls where I'm like, listen, if you like, cause they'll tell me like, oh, I'm really into candid. I'm really into this, I'm really into that. And I always tell them, I'm like, okay, we can absolutely incorporate that into your day. You know how to do all of that. But I also am going to get you those traditional moments that like you are going to put on your wall. Yeah. Your grandma wants. Your grandma doesn't want a picture of you blurry like under the veil because one, her eyesight's probably awful to begin with and it's already blurry. And then she's like looking at it and she's like, what am I looking at? Like that's not something that's going to necessarily stay in style forever. So I'm happy to do the little like trendy things that people want, but I'm also still going to give you that few traditional poses and then like the candid prompts and things like that.
And let's be real, it's their first wedding.
They haven't done this time.
So it's like, they don't know what they want. They know what they see on Pinterest. They know what they see on Instagram. They know what Siri and Alexa's popping up in everything they do. But they don't know what they want. And that's where they kind of lean on us as professionals as far as like, what do we want? And we've worked with photographers before where it's just literally like, they don't, and then right when we're getting mad, they're like, you're not telling us what to do.
Yeah,
you're not
that's
what to do. And it's just like, our team is in there going, okay, how about the green holds? Okay, how about this happening? You know, and it's one of those things where we're kind of definitely, you know, guiding them, which takes us off the planning side.
Correct.
And that kind of sucks.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the challenges unique to wedding photography that you guys face with photography and videography, really? Because you're doing kind of both now.
Video, I'm like, I can't really touch much on video. I'm sure David can chime in off camera, but
with photography, like any challenges as far as you know, that you're facing with wedding or client expectations, what their vision is. I know I have a photographer right now who's challenging. The client is sending her all these pictures of these like $1 million weddings in Greece, and she's like, "That's not your venue." I was like, we don't have clips. We don't have.
Yeah, right. So I am probably one of the most transparent, honest photographers you
which is refreshing.
I will tell you like that it's not attainable. Like, I'm very real. Yeah. Like this is. I also send full galleries. Perfect. So they can see like every single spot, and I'll send multiple of the same venue so that they can see like not every wedding is the same, but like the venue is still the same.
Yeah.
So look at the locations, look at things like that. Outside of like the client, I would just say, like, I don't know, even video stuff.
Anything that a client has come back to you and be like, well, I really expected this or expected that.
No.
See, they love you. People love you.
David's like, I do.
We have your photo behind us. That was a fun one.
That was a fun one.
We have you up.
I know.
You're on the
so special. I always see it. I'm like, that's mine.
That's me every podcast.
Yeah, that's me.
You're like, that's my photo.
I think the only time with video was if a client got like upset at the final film, or the final product, but never told us their expectations.
I think because you can't, like, you're not mind reader.
I'm not a mind reader.
Exactly.
And that was probably at one point, like I said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just when we first started, was when that happened. And
it
was a multicultural wedding with 2 separate ceremonies and 2 different religions.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want.
Yeah. So the only time it happened was it was a Christian ceremony, and I believe it was Pakistani.
Oh, nice.
They did both ceremonies. Like typically that would be a 3-day event.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They did all of it in one day, but didn't like tell us the tradition. And we looked up the traditions on our own. Was there a planner? No.
So
yeah, it was a backyard.
So therefore, the timeline isn't dialed in. What is?
Well, the timeline was dialed in on mine.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. So twisted. But it was just they didn't give us any information. Like I sent out a questionnaire with very thorough questions.
Yeah. We did the same.
Barely answered the question.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, you're giving me nothing to work with. So like, you're going to get what we do.
It's so frustrating too, because it's like, I'm trying to bring your vision to life, but if you're not giving me
I need to know it
together,
Correct.
what I feel would be your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with florals and, oh, I like greeneries and whites. Okay, well, how about all these? Oh, no, I hate that flower. Well, I don't really.
Right, like we just said white and green.
I am not a horticulturist. I don't know.
Right.
So it's one of those things like, do we go cheap or do we go with this like special orchid flown in from New Zealand?
Right.
What do you?
David's like yes to the New Zealand.
What are some of the advice you would give to couples looking to book photo and video? They're reaching out to multiple, photo and video teams to see what fits them. What are some advice you give couples like that?
My biggest advice is definitely pay attention to the companies that offer both together, because that means that they stay out of each other's way. They're like down to a science. Like, I mean, obviously me and David, he's in my way. I'm like,
Yeah.
move 3 inches to the left before you ruin everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to sleep in the bed today.
Right. Like you're staying on the couch. Stop it. You ruined my shot. That's definitely, I think, very important, because all the vendors being on the same page, like the more on the same page they are, the better your day is going to go.
Yeah.
Also, know the style that you like as far as editing, because what you're reaching out to, like if you see people's work online, they're not changing it for you. That is our style.
Yeah. You don't pick a dark and moody and then go, oh, I want to go
Correct.
right.
Right. What you see is very much what you get with people like photographers and videographers' portfolios. Of course, if you have like something special or something different
I have a few photos here and there.
that you want to incorporate, like we're visual learners, that's how we learn. We want to do some trendy stuff, but at the end of the day, if you go to the YouTube or wherever they're hosting videos and posting their photos, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for people to know.
Did you find it difficult? Because I know it was a learning curve for me. I knew how to plan a wedding. I knew how to plan an event. You knew how to photograph. Did you find it different from not only doing photography and saying, hey, I'm good at this, I can do this, but also turning it into and running a business? Like, I feel like I love what I do, but sometimes the fun stuff gets taken out because
Yes.
I have to do business stuff and I have to do grown-up stuff and I have to, make sure just everything from payroll to, making sure the time clocks and keeping the business license and insurance. What are some business aspects you find challenging as you became from photographer to business owner photographer?
Thank God for David.
Yeah.
He has a like corporate banking background.
Perfect.
So,
Jumping off on the side of jumping off buildings.
right. Yeah. Before he worked in the wedding industry and did photo and video with me, he worked for like US Trust. Like he knows how to do the payroll, the taxes, like all of that stuff. So, yeah, God.
And that's how, we started it. We're a franchise. So I had that guidance from our main office the whole time. But like Florida laws are different than South Carolina law. So that was a learning curve for me. And my husband's like, oh, you guys just got an email that you have to file something with 2 point. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Where do I find it?
I forward those emails to Dave. I say, there you go. I don't know what this means.
And you're my secretary.
Yeah, literally.
Even now I'm 7 years in and I'm working at a venue where they wanted to do, they needed a workman's comp exemption for us.
Yes.
Employees. And I'm like, where do I find that? And my husband's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to know these things. He goes, you're supposed to know.
Yeah.
So, obviously I reached out to my accountant. He's like, oh, here's the website. I'm like,
Exactly.
that's why you are where you are.
Exactly. Yeah. It was definitely,
There's some challenges to it. And it takes some of the fun part of it. It's not just
it wasn't that challenging for me.
really.
I like being in control. I love control. It's also why I don't have children. Because I'll ruin their lives. But I really want, listen, I've learned from my mother's mistakes. I like the control. That's why I edit everything myself too. We don't outsource anything. I need to see everything. I need to touch everything. I'm crazy. It wasn't too difficult. I've kind of learned, like, if I could actually pay attention in school back in the day, I would be really good at running a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Oh yeah. And it gets, each year it gets challenging as we grow.
Oh, for
But at the same time, it's like, when I started, I was doing all the timelines and all the layouts and I was creating the vision boards and I was visiting every venue and going to every meeting. And it was fun going to the floral meetings. Like, ooh, a food tasting. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm there for you. And now it's like, what?
I can't be bothered. Yeah.
Like, hey, so I don't get my hands into the nitty gritty of the timelines and layouts and the fun stuff anymore. But I also that's the enjoyment of it, is knowing I have an amazing team
Right.
who kill it for me every day. And
Yeah.
you know, I thank them constantly. Like I could not do my job without them.
Yeah.
Oh God,
That's
that's
amazing.
ask for a freaking raise after this podcast.
Yes, over here like, hey.
So,
But that's super important though to have people you can rely on.
and we have, you know, weekend girls, we have daytime girls, we have full-time girls, and the couple.
That's stressing me out. Just
And everybody asks me, like, how did you know? How did you know when you needed to hire people? How did you know when you needed help? When I felt like I got to the point as a business owner that my brides were not, and my couples were not getting the attention they deserve or the response as fast as I would want it,
Yeah.
immediately I had to hire somebody, because if I'm at a wedding on a Thursday, Becca can respond to an email. If Becca's at a wedding, I can respond to an email. The girls know I'm on vacation responding to emails. I'm emailing at 9:30 at night. I'm emailing at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's that's the way it is, and that's fine. That's what I chose.
Right.
But I also have the freedom now from a 9 to 5 of being the field trip mom and picking up my
Right.
kid from school.
Yep.
So there's definitely a balance of that. I had my laptop at soccer practice last night, and I was, you know, working on a contract
Oh,
last
yeah.
night.
I was getting a blowout yesterday and I was editing.
She said, blow out.
Blowout.
So
God
We
help me.
need to
We'll get there.
that's unfair.
But no, I mean, I bring my laptop everywhere.
Which is like,
You're like,
You're right.
pronunciation.
What do you
Out.
what do you see at wedding photography? Where do you see wedding photography videography heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
It changes so often. I have no freaking idea.
It really does.
Like,
It's the TikTok.
yeah.
Becca hates when I say that. Becca hates when I say the TikTok.
I wish the TikTok. I wish that like, and trust me, like social media is obviously very good for a lot of things, but it gives such a false hope
Yeah.
and like false narrative of like people are only showing the good stuff
Oh,
on social media
Oh, yeah.
and like these really cool trends. And I think it like messes with people's heads because they don't understand how long that trend took to capture.
yeah.
Like there's so many things like, but I'm just like, I don't know. They change so often. Like I would love to see some color.
I love color. I think
I'm so
that's
sick of
really
white
cool.
and green. I mean, I love it. It's beautiful. It's classic. It's
White
timeless.
green
I'm
blue.
not
White
insulting
green
any
blue.
of my couples.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. The blue. I'm good with the blue.
Blue looks great.
But like give me,
But they're safe. Let's go
they're
clear.
safe. Yeah.
And now I do have like a wedding
Stay away from neon orange because that will reflect back on your skin. That's the only thing I have to say.
and black walls make your
Yeah.
hair pretty.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing is you want, like, I have a couple coming up and we want to go crazy on color. I like blue, orange, peaches, yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love it. But, you know, we did have the conversation of, we wanted to look intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Do we do an ombre in the hookah?
Mhm.
Do we do
Like a
this
sunset type
ombre
of
down? Yeah, we wanted to look intentional. We don't want it to look like the Easter bunny puked at your
Correct.
ceremony.
Yeah.
You know, and also, I think it's fun to say one of the trends I'm seeing is it's not going towards a certain season. When I got married 1.5 million years ago, it was fall weddings looked very burgundies and greens and
Right.
riches and dark burnt
Yep.
browns. And now I did a fall wedding in November that it looks like spring.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Which is a lot of fun too, that people are like, wait, your wedding was in November?
Yeah. We just had a January one and they did pinks, oranges, yellows, everything. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. But I do agree, like with the social media, it does. It kind of screws up expectations, because the same thing is, you know, the other photographer will have, you know, brides send us multi-million-dollar weddings.
But they want to spend 50K.
I want to be around 15,000 for everything. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, you know, so it's one of those things where you managing those expectations. And I did a podcast with Sarah a few months ago, and she was like, you know, some people are like, everything's important. We always want to say like, what's important, what's important, what's important. Everything's important. And she's like, well, get your checkbook out. Like, we can do.
Yeah.
You pick it, we stick it, but
Mhm.
there's got to be some kind of realistic expectations there when you're doing that.
100%.
How did you start growing your team? Like, how big is your team at this point? I know you have multiple shooters. Are you able to do multiple weddings in a day, or when your date is gone, it's gone?
So that whole control issue thing, when the date is gone, it's gone. The only time that we will do 2 in a day is if someone hired us one wedding just photo and then another wedding just video.
Okay.
So for example, like if I'm doing photo, I have my second shooter, and then David could go off and do video for another couple
That makes
with his second shooter. Growing my team. So when we moved, because we were in Rhode Island prior to here, I'm from Florida, but I was living in Rhode Island at the
Is that
time.
when you started the business?
Yeah, so I started not like legally up there. I didn't have like a business license up there.
Legally.
So it's always been like a Florida business.
Yeah.
I never any of that. But when we moved down here, I didn't know anybody in the industry.
Yeah.
I think I followed like whoever I followed from back in 2016, like when we got married. So
Okay.
that was all that I knew of.
And you got married up there or down there?
Down here, we did a
Oh,
destination.
where'd you get married?
Jacque Country Club. in
Oh, my
Plantation.
God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. Who was your photographer?
She's not a photographer anymore, and she's from Melbourne.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Very
she does like I call her the Martha Stewart photography. She does a lot of like styled food things.
Oh, that's
gets
very
like
cool.
magazine covers and stuff. She's very
That's
cool.
very, very cool.
Oh my God. Oh, building a team, great. So when we moved here, I didn't know a lot of people. So we first just started out with photography. David was working full time. He would work on the weekends with me. Poor guy was working like a 40-hour week at his job and then another 20 hours on the weekend with me. And then I just paid attention to one of our past grooms. He posted on his story that he was like getting into flying drones.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we like bonded with him. He's cool.
Yeah.
Let me reach out and see. And I was like, so like, I see you're into drones. How would you feel about like David essentially teaching you everything that he knows and like coming to work with us? Because I also knew he was like looking for a job.
That's
He was
awesome.
in between work.
And you trusted him.
Yes.
And you knew his work.
Yes.
We're getting into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's part of it. It takes
Two more bullet points down.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so he came on with us and then he knew another local photographer that he was good friends with. Him and his wife were good friends with. And he was like, oh, she's looking to second shoot for people. And I snagged both of them and I treated them well. And they literally stuck with me up and like till now.
Yeah.
Like I do have backup second shooters
Yeah.
when they're not available,
But if
but
somebody gets sick,
exactly.
anything
We
happens.
try to keep it a team dynamic because we're familiar
Yeah.
and we know like how to stay out of each other's way, all that good
And
stuff.
we when we advise our clients and they're like, hey, you know, I'm like, listen, go to a photo and video team together.
Mhm.
They know
Yeah.
how they work. You know, they know how
Absolutely.
they work together. They're like a well-oiled machine. That being said, also maybe you get a discounted package if people.
You do.
So little
Yeah.
things like that is how we. And here's the thing: is we see it at weddings too, where they brought their videographer from New York and their photographer from here, and
Yep.
it works. But it's definitely a little bit more of guidance along the way and less seamless, essentially.
Right. And a lot of times it's two totally different styles. too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So one wedding, that's it. That's the way it is on that day. And that's what we tell our couples when we're booking weddings, we want to do, essentially catering if it's needed, depending on the venue, photography, videography, and then entertainment.
Yep.
Floors can do a couple weddings in a day. Hair and makeup teams can do a couple weddings in a day. But once those dates are gone, they're gone. So we want to make sure that we're getting the vendors you want.
And it's devastating when you have to turn people away.
It really is.
I'm like, if I could clone myself and never have to meet her, like two of me, but I don't ever want to talk to a second
No,
person.
she's just going to be just controlling too. And
Yeah, she's gonna be crazy. The twin can take one side and I'll do it over here. That's fine.
It's hard. It's a hard balance.
Yeah.
We ran into that. I mean, luckily, like my team, we ran into that because everybody wants me at their wedding. And, in the beginning, That was one of the bonuses. I can't physically be. If I could, I would. I love all my couples. I want to watch their day come to life,
Absolutely.
especially after the planning and process goes in. But luckily, because of Taylor and Becca in the office, they're communicating with the bride so much more. They immediately already feel comfortable.
They're familiar with that
with
too.
them.
Yep.
They're doing the walkthroughs, they're doing these things, the Zoom meetings and things like that. So the
100%.
couples already feel more comfortable.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing: is there's things that Becca and Taylor are stronger on than me.
Yeah.
There's things that I'm stronger on than them. So it really depends on the wedding, the couple, things like that, and all that stuff.
That makes 100% sense.
So that being said, it wouldn't be a podcast unless we talk about some crazy stories.
Okay.
Do you have? Let's get ready because I know we've talked off air about this.
Yes, we have.
And I remember you go, I'm going to be on your podcast. And I was like, okay, do you have any stories that cakes they bake? And my jaw dropped when you started. And I was like,
Yeah.
let's get you scheduled immediately.
Yeah. So I have two stories.
Wait, hold on 2 seconds because I want to get ready for this.
I'm going to start with the less. She has popcorn. I'm dead.
Let's go.
Cannot.
I want to get ready for this like immediately. These stories.
Okay. Well, I have one that's like not as crazy that
Would you like some?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. I can't eat and talk at the same time. So the first one it was in the very, very, very beginning of our career in Florida. It was actually, I was a bridesmaid and I photographed a reception.
Oh, that's so fun.
Oh, it was so fun. I would much rather be photographing than breaking it down.
When I get invited to a wedding and they want me to actually plan the wedding too, I'm like eating my meal.
Well, that's
and then I'm like running around and I'm not wearing my uniform, so nobody's taking.
But I was just reception, so like after formalities, like just the party stuff. I was like, okay, that's fine.
I will say, champagne and popcorn, I love today.
I love today. So we're like getting to the dancing, everyone's partying, and the best friend of the groom. I actually have two stories from this.
This is how many years ago? I want the whole
This was 20, end of 2018, beginning of 2019.
Okay.
I think.
Best friend of the groom.
Yes, he was belligerent, like right after form.
Drunk or
like
just
drunk,
okay.
like probably other things as well, but definitely not sober. He was walking around with like a lamb chop, like a lamb lollipop, like slurring, like during formalities, like while people are dancing on the dance floor. Fast forward like an hour and a half. He's now groping the mother of the groom, like Hong Kong.
Whoa. Wait, was she married?
Yeah, her husband was there.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's known this kid since he was like a kid. So I'm just like watching this go down, and I'm like, oh, okay.
This is like Stifler's mom stuff right now.
Yes, it's very good. Yeah. So then he kept just doing like inappropriate things where security had to like take him outside and speak to him. And then a cop walked up while security was speaking to him. He gave the cop a false name and false address. The cop looked it up. He was like arguing with the cops, telling him where to go, how to get there. He got arrested. They took him away. so that, but like groping the mom was like,
Yeah.
like, what do you,
And you were doing this, so you were like, wait.
I was, and I also knew them like personally, like I had, like gone out with him a few, I was just like, oh my God, read the room, Jesus Christ. But, and then later that night,
Oh,
same wedding, I was outside, just like, like a little drink break. Everyone's like smoking cigarettes, doing their thing out on the golf course, and I'm standing there and we're talking, and it's me, like two other bridesmaids, a few groomsmen, and the dad of the bride. And I was very, very close with the bride at this time. So I like had lived with her parents, so I knew her dad very well. And he looks at his now son-in-law and he goes, "Are you going to carry my daughter over the threshold when she, like when you guys go home?" This groom looks at his father-in-law and goes, "Do you mean get her to orgasm?"
Stop,
Jackie.
Stop,
Jackie.
Stop,
Jackie. Stop. When I tell you, I literally, I'm pretty sure if like part of my soul like came out my ear and you could see it like as smoke, and I just walked backwards and I just left and I went upstairs, and the father of the bride, like he looks at me and he's like, "Did he just say that?" I said, "He sure did."
Was he drunk too, or just?
Oh yeah, like
Oh my!
not just drunk, like other party favors, like the dad of the, like everyone was not well. Let's just put it that way. And I never in my life, I was just like, oh, okay. Right in the beginning, like one of the first weddings ever, I was like, wow, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy.
So paid for this.
Yeah, no, I was like, this is wild. And I actually did get paid for that. That was a wedding gift to them. Reception photos.
That was a gift to you.
Yeah. The experience for sure.
This was a gift.
For sure. I was just like,
That was a gift to our podcast, so we thank you today.
I was like, this cannot be happening. Like, and the dad just like shook his head. He was like, this is my life.
Do you know, are they still married?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Dad was cool. Like father of the bride. He was like very like hippie, super chill, like long hair and a ponytail, like a cool guy. Like he was just like, wow, like taken aback. He was just like, oh, okay. Nope, that's not what I was asking ever about my daughter.
He didn't need that. No.
Yeah, I was just like,
Just to be clear.
oh my God. I was just like, this is an out of body experience. This is insane.
At least he didn't say yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have done that.
Right. Well, he basically did. He was like, oh, I've done that. Like, and I was like,
God, you're taking a hole, dude. Stop talking.
he wasn't on planet Earth to even have a shovel or dig at all. Like, they were not with us. They were elsewhere.
I would have died.
Yeah.
That was
crazy.
more.
Hey babe, you want to refill this champagne for me for this next story? Thank you.
Taylor, you should be touching
Thoughts.
Yes.
Just wanted
This is
to-
going well.
Oh, nice little behind the back. Look at this. A little champagne pour.
Yep.
This
Perfect.
next story,
Thank
I
you.
heard at a wedding during a vendor meal, and let me tell you, our break during vendor meal was not long enough.
It wasn't.
We needed more time.
Was Ray there for that one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so
This is a jaw dropper one.
this is why I did like a deep breath when we talked about our team. So the craziest thing that takes the cake for us, and it's very recent as well. One of our second shooters, the male second shooter, because the other one's a real one. We brought him, so when we do travel weddings,
Yes.
specifically,
Start from the beginning.
we do it usually if they hire us for photo and video. We try to do it as a team of 3. It's less cost for the couple. We have a hybrid shooter. Everything's great. So we had an out-of-state wedding. It was at another Lessings venue, which I was super excited about.
That's exciting.
And we brought our second shooter with us.
And we love working with us.
Yeah, they're the
Amazing.
best, the
Amazing.
absolute best. Not us kissing their boobies, right?
No,
love
no, but that's the thing is, I have some couples who are like, oh no, it's an event factory. No, they're a well-oiled machine. This is not a hotel with random guests walking around who don't do events.
Yeah,
They
you
are-
want to know event factories? I got time.
Yeah, they are a well-oiled machine.
Oh, yeah,
Like, they know
exactly.
what they're doing, and they really, really bring it together.
I was so excited. I like ran up there. I was like, oh my God, I work at Pelican Club all the time. I'm so excited to meet you guys. And they were like, what's your name? And they like knew who I was. I was like, oh, look
Yeah.
at me. So anyways, so we go up, we shoot a wedding. This was in October of 2023.
So
Yes. So then, about 7-8 months later, so the thing about David and I with our team is we, like, they're family.
Yeah.
Like, you work with us, I'm bending over backwards for you.
Yeah.
I'm making sure you're getting money every chance I can give it to you, things like that.
And my girls are my work family.
Exactly. I'm bending over backwards not only for myself,
I'm
but
still
for,
at work 'cause we're going out for my birthday this weekend, and the girls have to work weddings, and I'm like, oh, they have
yeah, kind of like how you did your party and on a freaking Saturday, and I couldn't come for
fun
Friday.
thing. Ray called me and goes, I can't do Thursday, do Friday. I will be there. Ray couldn't make it. He's still
Yeah, well, I couldn't either. So
signed up.
next time, do a Thursday, and we'll talk. But anyways, I'm gonna get sidetracked because I'm so
Sorry, we go this
squirrel, literally. So flash forward to me talking, like, we treat everyone like family. So whenever David and I do fun things, like David's 40th birthday, I invited my team, like whatever, your family. So David and I were going to the theme parks. Let's invite our friends and our coworkers that love the theme parks. Let's all go and hang out. So David and I go, another couple goes with us that are our friends. They're also like high school friends of mine, past clients of ours. The best friend of my good friend we invited was the bride from the out-of-state wedding.
Fun. Okay.
So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I love her. I know her personally. That's great. I was like, I know that our second shooter also loves the theme parks. I know that his wife is pregnant and at home with their 2-year-old, so she probably won't come, but I'm still going to extend the invitation.
Yeah.
He can stay in our room like we do all the time when we travel. That's great. He says, yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
But wife, obviously.
Yeah, she could go. Yeah. So we're just, we're at the theme parks. Everything's fine and dandy. Just living my best life. I'm on vacation. I'm day drinking, people watching. Flash forward all the way to dinner and, imagine a 6-top table. Me, David, our friend, our other friend, that past bride / friend, and then our second shooter.
Now, was the second shooter at her wedding too?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So they know each other. It's like a whole group.
Exactly. So we're just sitting at dinner, and I'm tall. My torso, when I'm on an airplane, it's so embarrassing. If they have everyone sit up straight, my head is the tallest one. My torso is so long.
Looking over.
What? It's like,
To be clear, they met at the wedding
Yes.
shot for that bride.
correct.
So they met at the wedding.
They met at the
At the
wedding.
wedding.
That was
Correct.
the first time.
That was the first time that they met. They did not know each other
Yeah.
outside of that. So we're at dinner, and I can see, like, when I'm sitting across from someone at a table, I can see into the other person's lap, essentially, because I'm so tall.
Mhm.
So I notice that past bride of ours,
Who's still married.
yes, her hand is on my second shooter's, like, somewhere, leg, something. So I'm like, oh, hell, you can take the photographer out of the wedding.
Okay, you can take the camera.
Yeah, you can't take the camera out of my hand. Okay, so I open up my phone, I turn my flash off. I turn my metadata on because I need the timestamp, I need the location, I need everyone to know, like, I need to know where we are.
I don't even know what metadata is.
So
I'll
show you. Yeah.
Cool.
It's really good for investigative purposes.
Oh, wow. Yes, you know
So
that.
I take a picture under the table and I look at the picture and immediately, like, my heart is like in my butthole. Okay.
God.
Puckered.
No, really.
Keeping it
Tell
in.
us how you really felt.
I
I'm getting
So these are the jokes that I tell on the wedding day, like like saying weird words like butthole. Like, that's gonna make you laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's to my stomach.
No, heart was in my butthole, like clenched, keeping it in. Okay. And so I see that, I show it to David, and I'm like,
How in tune is David? Because my husband would be like, what the hell's that? Like,
Oh,
really loud, obnoxious, like, you know?
no, he was in tune.
So he knew exactly what.
Yeah, I like tapped his leg first and like under the table, like showed him the picture.
Yeah, my husband would be like, what? Scroll, what is that?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, he knew exactly.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what it was. So in that moment, I have like two thought processes, right? I'm like, I can be like so ratchet and crazy and like cause a scene right here in this restaurant, or I can pretend that one, I saw nothing, and like, or even pretend as far as like acting like I don't care and supporting it.
room?
Up until that day, I thought he was.
Oh.
He,
This is like day one.
yes.
Okay.
So like, when we were like at the pool that day, I was like, oh, like, where's your suitcase? You can like put it in
Yeah.
there. And he's like, oh, I don't need to, like, the girl, the bride, she has like the suite that has multiple rooms in it. So I'm just going to have my own room. And I was like,
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
red flag, but you kind of let it go.
right. Because I'm like, he's married. She's married. We just shot her wedding. He was at it. Like, let's be so for real. Like, they're with, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
He wants his own room.
That would be way too crazy.
Sure.
But wait, there's more.
So I could have been crazy and like caused a scene, but I chose the route of like, oh, I need to investigate. So I'm going to like, one, pretend I didn't really see anything at first. And then,
Activated.
yes. And so I looked at David after we left dinner and I was like, you need to say something to him because if I say something to him, I'm going to jail.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm straight up going to prison. I don't know. I'm throwing him off the second story of like the parking garage escalators.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What's up?
You mentioned mini golf and mini.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Straight up, we're getting there.
Jason's excited.
Yeah. He's like, oh.
David, do you want some popcorn?
Yeah. So after dinner, I knew that we had plans to still go mini golfing. So I was like, dear God. So we go mini golfing. And at this point, like, I had gotten a drink from Fat Tuesdays. I'm barely drinking it because I'm like just sick to my stomach. And I'm feeling sick to my stomach. David physically got sick to his stomach. Like, I look over and he's throwing up in the trash can.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just because
it's nauseating. There's no other way.
awful.
Yeah.
Because remember, our second shooter has a pregnant wife at home and a 2-year-old.
Very
And I like, and we shot his wedding as well.
Oh.
Like, remember, so like, I know his whole family. I've done pictures, like everything.
Oh.
So we get through mini golfing. I say to David, like, obviously, like, now you got to go talk to him. So David goes off, talks to him. At this point in time, that bride, like, attempts to talk to me. I've been drinking, so I purposely am like talking in circles, not saying anything that I don't
Yeah.
want to say. I just kept repeating, like, I'm in shock, but like, who knows about this? That was the question. David asked that question to him, and I asked that question to her.
Yeah.
And right out the gate, we got two different answers.
Oh.
David, when he asked it, his response was, my wife knows, we're separated, this, and that.
Okay.
When she answered me, she goes, we're taking this to our grave. I said, how big is the grave? Is it big enough for 6 people? Because there's 6 people here.
Whoa.
But no one told me not to say anything, which is a very important detail.
Well, and
Yeah.
that gets into somebody's morals.
Oh, absolutely. So it's like me and my brain, I have business side of my brain and girls side of my
Oh
brain.
yeah.
What the hell do I do?
Yeah, because you have a business. Like,
Correct.
like I remember, I walked into a wedding, this is nowhere near that, and I had a new intern, and she was the cutest little thing. And it was a firefighter wedding. I mean, hello. And she goes, I looked at her when we walked in after I saw all the groomsmen lined up. I go, are you single? And she goes, yeah. I said, not today, you're not.
Nope.
She goes, okay. And it was like one of those things.
Yeah.
Every wedding, there's drinking, there's alcohol, there's things involved, and somebody's getting hit on. And it's keeping that professional line.
Absolutely.
And it's hard because it is fun and it is a fun environment, but at the same time, it's like, no. We are professionals. We are business owners.
And you're representing my business.
My brand, my business.
You are representing me.
And we're like nationwide now. Like, you don't need that scandal type of, no.
Right. So basically, we learned that there's two different stories.
That's a quick way to get fired.
Real quick. Like the quickest. And basically, right after that happened, like I said,
Was the trip caught short?
No, I mean, we all paid to be there. So, because we were staying overnight, I would say I went to bed. I didn't go to sleep. I literally could tell you what the curtains look like at Dockside in Universal Studios. I can paint them from memory. I stared at them for 7 hours straight, being like, how do I handle this situation? So I knew, like, obviously I talked to a few people.
Your friends?
Correct. We were like, friends at this point was like mutual. Like, I would always, I would buy whatever I could off of the registry. I would talk to her. I would thank her every single time we would travel with us. I was
Makes sense.
comfortable with her. And so my thing was, but she was also a high risk pregnancy. And she was like towards her last trimester. And I've never had kids. I didn't want to like stress her out even more. I didn't want her to go into labor early. I don't know how any of this works. I was like, right. I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do. So obviously David and I knew right out the gate, he's getting fired in this moment.
Does he know it?
No. How delusional are you to do this in front of your bosses with one of their clients?
I mean,
While they're both
very
married.
basics. Like, put morals aside. You're doing this with one of our clients in front of your bosses, and you don't.
And you thought we weren't gonna like have a problem with it. Like, first off, I'm insulted that you think I'm that big of a piece of shit. Let's be real. That's my first time cursing today, okay? I said butthole earlier instead.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Right. So basically, a couple, like, I think my conclusion was I need to do damage control, but I also do need to tell her, but I knew that she would come to me. His wife's not dumb. So it took like a week and a half. She like texted me at like 11:29 p.m.
Well, he's not that slick either.
on
so
October 6th. I remember the date.
It's a matter of getting caught because he's not that slick.
Correct. Yep. So she sent me a text. She said, hey, I know you were in Orlando with everyone. I have like a weird inkling about this. Like, did you see anything happen?
That's women's intuition.
And I look at David and I said, good night. I'm going to be a couple hours. And her and I were texting for like 2 hours up until 1 a.m. I told her everything that I saw.
But here's the thing. I mean, down to the basics, it's a little bit of a red flag that your wife is in her last trimester. She's high risk, and you're going to go to Universal Studios for the weekend.
Oh, for sure.
Like what?
For sure.
You're 3 hours away from her. God forbid something happens.
Yep. But he had to see his mistress. Yeah.
Ooh, that's what we'll call her?
Yeah. Well, I'm calling her a name, that's for sure. But and basically,
So I talked to her and you texted everything.
I told her everything that I saw. Like I said, we fired him. He was in possession of like some of our gear. We made sure to like get our gear back.
Before you fired her?
It was within the firing
Okay.
text. It was like a long, lovely.
And that was like a week later or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we like needed to do like any damage control or just figure out like the best way to go about it because no one ever thinks like he helped shoot their wedding. Well, like what do you?
That goes back to like, first of all, wrapping your mind around something so immorally wrong, but then from a business standpoint, like how this is going to have repercussions on you, your name, your brand, everything.
Yeah. So the repercussions of that are, and more so positive than negative with how everything has played out. But since all of this happening, We know how TikTok rules the world. And his wife has gone to TikTok and told her story.
So they broke up.
They're like their divorces have been filed. Like they're not officially.
Okay, so
They're still married.
is he still with?
Oh yeah.
Oh, stop.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Oh yeah. But that's why I'm like, so the plot thickens on TikTok. That's Sarah. She tells her whole thing. Oh, sorry, I can say Sarah's name. She loves me. She's excited that I'm here.
We love you, Sarah.
Yeah. We love you. Literally.
So,
Huh?
You can use her whole name.
Her whole name?
oh, you don't have to do that. We're good.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but she went to TikTok. She told the whole story of what
Does
happened.
she have a baby?
Yes.
Baby safe and sound.
Yep, she gave the baby her last name instead of his. And she told the whole story. It went so viral, so much so that people have found our photos and videos on our Instagrams and TikToks from that wedding, from the wedding that he shot of that bride.
Oh my God.
The internet has gone absolutely berserk. I did have to step in to protect my business because people were getting confused on like who had the affair with the bride for like a hot minute online. So I had to like clarify with photos of like who's who
Yeah.
between like David and our second shooter. But other than that, it's been like, people are like, I'm sorry that the drama brought me to this incredible video, but like your work is amazing.
Yeah.
And in 3 years when I get married, like I'm calling you guys, like,
Oh yeah.
because it was a specific like wedding. Like David worked extra hard. It was a Harry Potter themed wedding.
Oh,
So he
that's
did
fun.
special effects like in the video and stuff
That's
like
really
that.
cool.
And he worked very hard on it. So it's nice to see that work getting recognition
Yeah.
when it didn't really get that much.
So, okay, so they're getting divorced.
Yep.
The second shooter and his wife are getting divorced.
Mhm.
The past bride,
They're getting divorced.
they're getting divorced
Yeah.
as well. So they haven't even made it a year. Or no,
No, they didn't make it.
they didn't make it.
No, they started the affair 7 months into her marriage.
Oh my God. Okay. So they're getting divorced as well. And they're still together. The second shooter and the bride are still together.
They're trauma bonded for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I mean, like, wow, that's crazy.
What?
I think they're both living in such a thick soup of their own decisions at this point that they cannot get out of it.
Yeah, they've dug that little grave that they were talking about. That bitch is so deep.
Oh,
They ain't crawling
So
out.
deep.
yeah. I mean, so many people.
And like they did it to themselves.
Do they,
Like,
but she was destination. So do they live near each other now? Or,
No.
So they're just. And here's the thing: they do it to you. They're gonna, or they do it with you. They're gonna do it to you.
oh, you lose them how you got
Yeah,
point
I
blank.
like that.
Point blank every single time.
Yes.
But ever since this has come out, I've had a few brides reach out to me that he was in their DMs. I've had a few model clients of mine reach out to me, tell me that he's been in their DMs. I don't play.
After.
When this story came to light, I posted on my Instagram story, if you are a bride from 2021 to 2024, I need you to send me a DM. And anyone that was photo and video, I sent them like something that I wrote up asking, I was like, this is very embarrassing. I'm like, so sorry to ask this, but has this person ever been in your DMs? Specifically, if you're a gym girly, because that's his segue.
Okay.
And I've had, including the mistress herself, 5 brides and 3 models of mine that he worked with us on, that he was in their DMs.
And was he doing it while he was with the mistress, or
No, this is prior. This is throughout his whole marriage.
And you had no idea. So why would that ever come up?
Why would it come up? I mean, I wish some of my brides would have been like, hey, you got a snake on your team.
Yeah.
Come on. We're cool. Give me the tea.
And Becca's recording, and
Yeah.
is like producing the podcast right now, and her jaw.
Yeah, she's like falling sideways out of her
It's
chair.
so cool, Becca.
Yeah. But no, it's just, like my entire clientele list was a free for all for him. It's disgusting.
Oh my
And it's in my contract. You're not supposed to follow them on any social media. Like you are a representation of my business. You don't get to talk about your own business. You work for me. Do not follow them. Do not have conversations with them before, after, during, whatever.
And you're like running a business, so who's gonna go up and check mutual friends? Like you don't have
I don't have time to do that.
Exactly. You're not a babysitter.
Bet your ass I'm gonna do it now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That's craziness.
now it's like a running joke. when we, get another second shooter for any gigs, we're like, so you're not gonna like sleep with the bride, right?
So you don't offer bonus packages?
Yeah, no bonus packages, nothing like that. He was fired immediately. I just need to I've been reiterating that on TikTok, like everything, like absolutely not. We are in the business of love.
Yes.
You are the polar opposite.
And you don't get to love our couples.
That's disgusting. I don't want any of them to know you. I would love to have that Men in Black thing and be like, bing,
yes,
forgot everything.
Exactly.
Forever and ever.
That's craziness to me. That definitely takes the cake. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Anytime.
What's your dream? Like people give a shit what we're going to say now.
Yeah, right? The podcast is over.
What's your dream wedding location to shoot?
I'm in Erie.
Where the hell's that?
Utah?
Oh, cool.
You need to look it up.
I'm going to look up.
We should like create a package specific for that so that we can get that
together.
It's gorgeous. It is like the polar opposite of anything you will see here. Super modern in like the clay desert.
I say we just go and then we'll find it right out there.
I mean, let's do some type of like work trip.
Yes.
Out there.
It's all right.
And then we'll just model for each other. And then we'll be like, we've worked here before.
This is amazing.
Because that's what Pinterest is. I'll send those shapes anyways.
Thank you so for coming out and sharing the craziness. Hopefully we left you with some fun stories, a fun, memorable experience.
That was awesome.
Based on your second refill.
I know. I needed it for that story.
Dude. I got the popcorn right
Yeah,
now.
you did. I loved that. I was like, not her whipping out a literal bowl of popcorn.
That meme where like,
Yeah, I really thought, like, it's the guy in the movie theater. Isn't it like Michael Jackson?
yes.
And he's like,
and I'm sitting here,
yeah.
oh my God, is this crunching in my microphone? But
No.
you know what? It was worth it.
That's ASMR. It's fine.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll do it again. Next story.
Let's make David sit in the hot seat.
Yes, David's
He will hate it. He's embarrassed he's not even on camera.
We will definitely have you guys back on. Thank you everybody for joining us again. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram. This Takes the Cake on Spotify and YouTube, as well as our website, Sunny and Brilliant Events, and This Takes the Cake. Thank you, Sam. Samantha Farmer, video. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.